setting goals and actually achieving goals. And I'm a huge believer in setting goals. And the reason I do is because I try to create a vision. And then I try to visualize the end result of that goal. But it's important to realize that you can set a goal, and like on New Year's Day or whatever, you can sit there and go, okay, for 2024, it's going to be my best year ever because this, that, and the other thing. But if you don't have any way of measuring those goals, they just fade away. Okay? Those of you that have gym memberships, whether it's 24-hour fitness or Gold's Gym or the YMCA, have you noticed that the gym has already cleared out? It's like the first couple of weeks of the new year, you're like, okay, who are all these people thinking that they can use my gym? And then 2 weeks later, they're gone and you're back to the regular group of people. Well, that's what happens with goals. We get all excited about setting them, and then in a couple of weeks, we stop talking about them, and then they just fade away. And then all of a sudden, December 28th rolls around, and you're like, okay, 2025 is going to be my year. And then we just go through that whole cycle all over again. And so, yes, it's important to set goals, but it's important to talk about them. But how often do you talk about them? Well, in my mind, I talk about them every day. Every single day. The first thing that I do when I wake up is I look at my download report. I look at what my volume was, because I can compare it to what it was yesterday at exactly 5:15 in the morning. And I can compare to see how many new associates joined the team compared to yesterday at 5:15 in the morning. It's a very, very consistent thing. And I've got goals and say, okay, I want my volume to be this. I need this many people to join the team. I've got to talk to X amount of people, but every night before I go to bed, I have my to-do list. So I wake up in the morning, go to the gym, come back to my desk, and boom, I'm ready to go. I don't have to sit here and go, okay, what do I have to do today? What do I have to do? And I don't think goals are worth anything unless you write them down. All right? Written goals are really, really powerful. And I want to give you some stats. I want to give you some statistics on people who actually write their goals down. Now, I cannot remember where I got these stats from, so I apologize for that. But I read here that 3% of Americans, 3% are independently wealthy. Now, to be honest with you, I thought that number was a little bit high. I thought only 3%. I thought, wow, 3% independently wealthy. That means 3 out of 100 are independently wealthy. I thought it would be maybe 1 out of 100, okay? But it's actually 3 out of 100. 10% live comfortably. 10% live comfortably, which meant that they have enough money coming in every month to pay all of their bills, and they're not like they don't run out of money before the end of the month. People that live independently wealthy, they have enough money already that's invested, and the money that they make monthly pays for their lifestyle. That's independently wealthy. People who live comfortably, they still have to work. You still have to work, but they're comfortable. It's like, no, we're making enough money to live our lifestyle, pay all of our bills, and do the things that we really want to do. But if we stop working, boom, everything goes out the window. That's only 10%, you guys. That's 10 out of 100 people. 60% barely make a living. 60%. 6 out of 10. 60 out of 100 people barely make it every single month. And these are the people that are living paycheck to paycheck. And the paycheck barely covers their expenses. Okay? 27% need support from others or the government. Okay? Almost 3 out of 10. Now, what is the difference between the 3%? Okay, you take the people that are independently wealthy, and the difference is they had written goals. They had written specific goals. Okay, they didn't just have goals. They said, I'm going to go do X, Y, Z. They were very specific, and they had them written down. The next 10% have goals in their mind, but they weren't written down. So they're living comfortably and they have goals. They're like, yeah, I can go do this, but they didn't write them down. The next 87%, those are the people who barely are making a living or need support from others or the government. That's 60 and that 27%. So that's 87%. These are the people who live paycheck to paycheck. They just live paycheck to paycheck. And they're like, all right, as long as I've got the minimums paid on my credit cards, I'm good to go. It's like you will never get out of debt if you pay the minimums on your credit card. 52% of Americans, and Canadians, throw yourself in here as well, 52% of Americans have less. I don't even want to tell you this number. I'm going to tell you, but man, I don't even want to put this out in the atmosphere. 52%. This is more than half of the people here in the United States have less than $25,000 in savings when they retire. Let that sink in. Less than $25,000 in savings when they retire. Okay? The reason I tell you all of this is because we have everything laid out for us. Guys, what we are doing, the plan is right in front of us. Everything that we have, everything that we need is laid out right in front of us. It's not hard. Guys, it is not difficult if we plan our work and work our plan. That's an old saying. But you have to have a plan. Okay, we can sit there and just kind of wake up in the morning and go, oh, who can, willy-nilly this thing to death. But what's your plan? Who are you going to talk to today? And so you write this plan out, and that still means nothing because you still have to work the plan. It's like the phone analogy that I used the other day. It's like you can have your cell phone present and it can be plugged in, but it doesn't do anything unless you push the buttons. You have to take action. I love these quotes. People who have goals and plans dictate to others, while people without goals and plans are dictated to. Okay, let me repeat that. People who have goals and plans dictate to others, while people without goals and plans are dictated to. And I know some of you are like, yeah, that used to be me until I joined the company. I'm going to be the one dictating the plans. All right, I'm going to be telling people what to do. But remember, everybody in this business is independent. If you start managing people, your business is going to die. Okay? People already, the people that you're talking to, they already have a job. They don't want or need another one. This is something that they can build on the side of what they currently do. But you have to be the boss. If you read my book, I don't know how many times I say in that book, I needed to be the boss. I needed to be the boss. I needed to be the boss. And I'm giving you guys all these examples of my life where I would run into people and I'd work for other people and I'd say, I need to be the boss. I need to be the boss. And that's how you make it, by you being the boss. And everything that we have here gives us the opportunity to be the boss. Do you guys know who Yogi Berra is? Not Yogi Bear, Yogi Berra. Yogi obviously is his nickname. And he had this quote about why we set goals. Yogi Berra was a great player, great catcher with the New York Yankees. And he said, if you don't know where you're going, you'll probably end up someplace else. That was one of Yogi Berra's quotes. All right. If you see a fork in the road, take it. That's another one of Yogi Berra's quotes. And he's right. Goals give us a purpose. It gives us direction and meaning. But once again, action is the key. You could be the greatest goal setter in the world. It's like, oh, my 2024 is going to be like this, that, and the other thing, and you've got this plan completely laid out. But if you don't take action, you're going to end up somewhere else. You're never, ever, ever going to be able to hit your target. So I've always been the one to write goals out. All right, I write things down on papers. I have vision boards, and I still do it today. I find myself like when I built my first big house. It's like I had a picture of that house on my desk 5 years before I built it. I'd put pictures of cars and boats and things that I wanted. I just lay them around. I'm like, that I gotta go get that. I gotta go get that. And they were constant reminders of what I wanted to do. Here's another thing, you guys. Go test drive. Go test drive your dream car. Just go test drive it. Because once you get in that car and you smell the leather and you hear the sound system and you hear how quiet the motor is and you feel how smooth that car drives down the road, you'll figure out how to get it. You'll figure it out. You'll sit back and go, all right, I got to get this car. I got to go figure this out. And I would do that. I would go do that. The first Lexus that I ever bought, I test drove that thing and I'm like, I need to get this. This is the car that I need to get. I would go to boat shows and I'd sit in these boats and I'm like, oh my word, look at this thing. And when you do that, it just expands your vision, right? And you take pictures of it, you lay those pictures all around. And so I do it today. I've got some very, very strong visions that kind of act as my autopilot. It's like, well, the reason I'm doing this, the reason I'm going to Madison tonight to do a meeting is because I got some goals I need to hit. And I want to help Roxanne and I want to help Craig. It's like, come on, you guys, I can't do this by myself. If I'm going to hit my goals, you have to hit yours. So I'm looking for people that want to hit their goals so that I can hit mine. See what a great program we have right here? Sometimes it seems like there's not enough hours in the day to do the things that I should do. And that's why, I think I've done other calls about being bogged down. It's like you can have too many things on your to-do list. And that's why when I create my to-do list, I only put 6 things on there. I only put 6 items on my to-do list. And the first one is the most important. The second one is the second most important. The third one is the third most important. And I just work down the list. And if I don't get all 6 of them done, whatever I did not get done that day, they become number 1 for the following day. So guys, I just want to encourage you to not only have goals, but I need you to write them down and I need you to take action. Because when you look at these stats, 3% of Americans are independently wealthy. That's where you want to be. You don't want to be part of the 10% that live comfortably. You certainly don't want to be part of the 60% that barely make a living. And you don't want to be the 20%, 27% who need help from others or the government. And I'm telling you right now, if you're in that category, you have got a way out right now. You've got a way out. And you know that. That's why you're on this call. And that's why you participate in everything that we're doing in you building your Super Patch business.